What if the very thing trying to break you was actually shaping you? Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between rolling hills and dusty roads, lived a young girl named Emily. She was only 14, but life already felt like a marathon with no finish line. Her days were packed: school, extra classes, sports, homework, expectations. She tried, she really did. But no matter how hard she worked, it always felt like one thing or another went wrong. And today was the final straw. She sat at the kitchen table staring at her math test. Another red mark, another low grade, another failure. Tears burned in her eyes. Her heart felt heavy, like the weight of the world had landed on her chest. She stomped into the living room, holding the paper in her trembling hand. Her father, Mark, was fixing a chair leg, humming quietly to himself. "Dad," Emily said, her voice cracking. "Why does life feel like this? Why do we keep trying if problems never stop? The moment I fix one thing, something else falls apart." Mark looked up from his work. He didn't rush to comfort her. He didn't offer empty words. Instead, he stood up slowly and said, "Come with me. I want to show you something." Emily sighed, frustrated, but followed him into the kitchen. She watched in confusion as he placed 3 small pots on the stove. He filled each one with water, turned on the heat, and reached into the pantry. Out came a raw potato, a fragile egg, and a handful of coffee beans. "What are you doing?" she asked. Mark said nothing. He dropped the potato into the first pot, the egg into the second, and the coffee beans into the third. Minutes passed. The kitchen filled with steam. The water in each pot bubbled and boiled. Emily waited impatiently, arms folded, tapping her foot. Then, without a word, Mark turned off the stove. He placed the cooked potato in a bowl, then the egg. And finally, he poured the rich, dark liquid from the third pot into a mug. "Touch the potato," he said. Emily poked it gently. It was soft and falling apart. Now the egg. She cracked it open. The yolk that once ran freely was now solid. Then her father held up the mug of coffee. It was warm, fragrant, calming. "You see," he said quietly, "each of these faced the same heat, but they responded differently." Emily blinked. The potato went in strong, but came out weak and broken. The egg was soft, but turned hard and unbending. And the coffee beans? They changed the water itself. They transformed the situation. He paused, then added, "Life will boil you, Emily. It will test you. It will make you feel like everything's against you. But how you respond, that's your choice." She stared at the coffee. He leaned in. "So, tell me, when life turns up the heat, will you let it break you like the potato? Will you let it harden you like the egg? Or will you rise like the coffee and change everything around you?" And right there, something in her shifted. The pain didn't disappear. The pressure didn't stop. But for the first time, she saw herself not as a victim of the fire, but as someone capable of transforming it. That night, she taped her failed test to the wall above her study table, not to shame herself, but to remind herself, this is just heat. What I do with it is up to me. Moral of the story: life will always bring the heat, stress, failure, pressure, disappointment. But how you respond determines who you become. You can let it soften you into weakness like the potato, harden you into bitterness like the egg, or you can rise like coffee, changing the very situation meant to break you. You are not defined by what happens to you. You're defined by what you choose to become through it. When life boils, be coffee.